Good evening, everybody. Aloha and welcome to historic Gates Field here on the campus of Kearns High School with my broadcast partner Ty Wilkinson, Alexander Tillman joining you for this special presentation of the MGF Marshall Summer League here on KSL Sports Rewind. Alrighty, Ty, I turn to you. The first thing I say is we got some talent going on here at Gates Field tonight, and we're excited to just be back calling games here.
It's true, Alex, and it's basically going to be a showcase of, as you mentioned, a lot of talent to be shown between either side for the teams that we've been seeing so far. And a big difference that I've noticed, Alex, and what I love personally is the wooden bat aspect. I mean, sure, metal bats are also an advantage, but we get to see a lot of MLB style of baseball, if you will, which is going to be a lot interesting. But I'm ready to have some fun today. This is going to be a really good matchup.
Yeah, a lot of D1 talent on the roster tonight for these two teams, the Mauvsters and the Anchors. Of course, we'll get into the specifics of the talent on the rosters here as we go along here in the broadcast, but we're ready to start. As Drake Pearsall, the Riverton High School graduate and commit to Salt Lake Community College, will take his cuts now against Blade Paragas, who is on the mound tonight for the Mauvsters, or for the Anchors rather. Temperature hovering around the high 80s here as we get set to start. It was up in the 90s earlier today, but thankfully it's cooled down. And another good thing is, Ty, is we're in the shade here tonight at Gates Field. Blade Paragas' first pitch on the way. His check swing foul off to the netting, and we're underway here tonight. Just underway here on this beautiful night here in Kearns, Utah. Next pitch on the way from Paragas is inside and high, ball one. Paragas from Makaha on the island of Oahu. He is a commit to BYU, graduate of Kamehameha Kapalama. Try to say that 5 times fast. Next pitch on the way is driven down the left field line and foul. Was a 4-year varsity starter at Kamehameha, at the place they call Kunui Akea, and was the #1 ranked pitcher in Hawaii. Was an all-state honorable mention by the Honolulu Star Advertiser of note. 1-2 pitch. That one misses the corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I was going to say, Alex, you probably know the guy. At least you would think you would know the guy, #1 pitcher in Hawaii.
There is some good talent in Hawaii. We're going to see 2 more Hawaii commits later tonight. Quincy Butte and, of course, David Vergel de Dios, another Hawaii boy from the island of Maui, as this is grounded to the hot corner at third. Picked up on a hop, winged over to first in time, and that will put out the first batter of the game, 5-3. Credit that put out there. Nice pick at third by the infielder, Junior Lauvaki, the Springville High graduate, going to, of course, Oregon.
It was a good snag over there. It looks like that grass to dirt transition tried to get a hop on him. Still managed to get away with it, and there you go. Already 1 out.
Here comes Chandler Reber now to the plate from St. George here in the Beehive State. Paragas' first pitch on the way to the St. George native is high in above the letters there, ball one.
That's what I like about this particular league, Alex, is it feels like an all-star game in the sense that, all these guys have different stories and coming from different cities. And now we're all playing on the same team with the same goal to try to showcase their talent until they, go to the collegiate level.
The funny part about that is, Ty, is that of course there's a lot of Utah kids, and being that this is a Utah-based summer league, you're going to have that. But there are players from as far east as Florida, and there's players from as far west as the state of Hawaii, which is, of course, what I referred to earlier with Paragas on the mound and David Vergel de Dios, who we're going to see later tonight.
From sea to shining sea, if you will.
Well, I don't know exactly about that, but it's pretty close, as this one is hacked foul by Reber over the roof. And out of play, so the count remains 1 ball, 2 strikes here with 1 out here in the top of the first inning. Can't even say there's a sea here because we're landlocked by a couple of lakes either way as this one bounces up to the plate. And the count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes here on the second man of the order, Chandler Reber.
If you want to count the Great Salt Lake, Alex.
Maybe. Or Utah Lake,
Yeah,
even.
right.
Or Lake Powell. We'll split the difference on that one. 2-2 pitch. Did he go? Yes, he did. Strike 3. That's the first strikeout of the game for the Kamehameha grad, Blade Paragas. And now, Ty, here comes a name that'll be familiar to people that are from Riverton listening to us, Dallin Ellison.
Yep.
We'll take his cuts.
Alex, he's had his fair share of injury. We know he injured his wrist back in Texas when he was playing football, but now he's back, and he said, actually I was fortunate to get an interview with him. He said that he's taken his hacks, he's taken his swings a lot better. He still hasn't played in the field, so he's playing in the DH, but he says his wrist is feeling better than normal and a lot better than when he had broken it, which I guess makes a lot of sense, but
Well, I mean, yeah, of course it's going to be uncomfortable when
Right.
you do that. I mean, but as that ball was fouled off the mask there of Vergel de Dios behind the plate, and so the umpires are just checking to make sure that he's all right, and then he's having a chat with his fellow Hawaii boy Paragas. Not from the same island, obviously.
Right.
Vergel de Dios is from Maui, Kahului to be exact. He's a Maui high school grad.
I definitely knew that.
Yes. And, of course, Paragas from Kamehameha.
Right.
Which, of course, shout out to Taryn Chun, who's the head of school over there, my state president, who's
There you
probably
go.
watching this broadcast tonight. Watching his Kamehameha graduate go to work.
Well, it's funny, Alex, when I talked to Dallin Ellison, we know a lot of the Riverton guys are actually committed to SLCC. And I asked him, is there a relation between you guys, or, a coincidence, if you will, between them? He said, nope. I mean, SLCC really liked the way Riverton played ball, and he said it was kind of just ironic. They just liked pretty much most of the guys on the lineup. So you'll see a lot of Riverton, or at least former Riverton players, be playing for SLCC, but it's not a coincidence, or I guess it is a coincidence. It's not a planned, attack method.
Well, I guess you could say that because you got him here, you got Dylan Zulo, of course, and then you have Cooper Hansen in this as well. I mean, that just shows you how good Riverton has been over the past decade under Jay Applegate. As the 2-2 pitch is high and outside ball 3, so the count goes to full here on Dallin Ellison. Should shout out Coach Applegate, by the way, announced his retirement after a very successful tenure of close to 30 years at Riverton. Had a chance to talk with him in the season opener at American Fork. And just a class man all around, and a well-deserved state championship 2 years ago over American Fork in that memorable championship series. Of course, we had another one that Ty and I, of course, just called just 3 weeks ago by coincidence, as Ellison strikes out here. And that will do it for the top half of the first inning. Blade Paragas sets down the side in order in the top of the first inning. We go to the bottom of inning number 1. It is no score between the Mauvsters and the Anchors. Welcome back, everyone, to the historic Gates Field here on the campus of Kearns High School. Alexander Smoke alongside Ty Wilkinson. No score between the Mauvsters and the Anchors, and the Anchors will be coming back here in the bottom half of the first inning. And it'll be our first chance to look at, for the Mauvsters, their starter, Cooper Loveridge, who, of course, is currently playing at Air Force. And Ty, it's hard not to come away impressed with Loveridge. I mean, he goes to Air Force. He's from Salem Hills. He's a 2-time academic All-State. And you think about the academic demands at Air Force. Just for reference, people that enter the Air Force Academy have to take 18 credits a semester. That's a lot of classes. And then you top it all off with athletics. You got to juggle a lot of.
I was going to say, does that include student athletes?
It truly
Holy
does.
Cow.
Yes.
18 credits. How much credit do you think a baseball class is?
I mean,
you would hope it's like 6.
but he appeared 7 times in 2024 for Air Force, and he made his first collegiate appearance against get this, Texas Tech.
Wow.
So
that's a high order.
That's a very high order, but you think about, but it's hard not to come away impressed with Loveridge's resume. I mean, the guy is a 2-time academic All-State, and here he is playing at Air Force. I mean, that's a pretty big get for a school like Air Force to have him on the roster.
Well, credit to their recruiting profiles that they can find in some of these guys. They obviously see something in him, and then now he gets the opportunity to play for the old Air Force Academy out there. I believe it's Colorado, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it is. Colorado Springs, 6,621 feet above sea level.
Well, he'll have elevation in his favor playing in Utah.
Yes, he certainly does, because this is, of course, 4,000 feet above sea level, so this is probably nothing for him. Coming back home to where he used to be. 2-0 pitch is down low, 3 balls and no strikes to the leadoff man for the Anchors here this evening. Easton Barrett, the Springville native. Springville graduate, I should say. That's a strike over the inner half, taking all the way. Barrett going to Arizona State. Speaking of another good baseball school.
Forks up.
Exactly. As he swings and misses at that one, strike 2.
You know, they got a good baseball program over there at ASU.
Very good baseball program. I mean, they played at Packard Stadium for 40 years almost before they moved to Phoenix Muni. As this one is broken off the end of the bat and into right field for a base hit. And that is the first base hit of the ball game for either side here this evening. And the first base runner of the game, I should say, for either side here this evening as well.
Well, that's what I love, Alex, is the aspect of the wooden bat, because you always get that interesting sound. As you can tell, you can always tell from a mile away that the bat is broken, too.
Jack McWilliams now stands in against Loveridge. First pitch on the way, hits the outside corner for a strike.
I'd like to say it has a lot better ring than a metal bat, but that would make no sense because the metal bat
No, because the metal bat
right.
literally rings. The metal bat literally rings, Ty. We've been around enough college baseball and high school baseball to know that that is the case. This one is down to the dirt, ball 1. Getting back to Barrett for a second, some of these numbers are absolutely ridiculous. I mean, he made 9 appearances for Springville. He went 4-0 with a 1.27 ERA. And he batted .395 time with 28 RBIs and 7 home runs. This one's chopped to the right. That's a base hit to right. And a bobble out there in right field. That will allow Barrett to get over to third. So put runners at the corners now with nobody out. And a single for the San Diego commit, Jack McWilliams.
Well, already a couple base hits from the top of the lineup. Now you got 2 runners on the corners. Makes it easier for scoring position now. Then you bring up your 3-hole hitter.
We'll get to all the specifics about this Anchors lineup. I mean, there are some good bats in this lineup. There are a lot of good bats along the whole of this lineup, really, for both sides. First pitch from Loveridge is on the inner half for a strike. To the number 3 man in the order, Junior Lawaki. Of course, the Springville graduate going to Oregon. Home of former Cal State Fullerton coach George Horton. And actually, Ties, interestingly, I think you know about the Oregon program. They were a club team for so many years. They finally brought the program back in 2009. And it's only fitting Horton was the first man to lead that program out of that rebuild. This is just chopped to third. Throw coming home. They're going to get Easton Barrett going to the plate. And that will be a fielder's choice score at 6-2, or 5-2 rather. Good pick on the corner there by the third baseman, who was the leadoff man in the order for the Mauvsters, Drake Pearsall.
Well,
we've seen him do that quite a few times.
Yeah, exactly. That was a good mental awareness play over there on third. He realizes, I want to keep this score, to keep the same. I'd rather not get the force out at first. Instead, I'll get the fielder's choice.
Bring up Drew Johnson now. As this is ball one with runners on first and second with one out.
You think with a name like the Anchors, Alex, do you think they have a specific anchor man, if you will?
I hope it's not Ron Burgundy. That's all I can say.
I'm glad you understood.
I knew you were I knew you were going there with
Yeah.
that. I just had to pitch in on the joke. Have a Big 12 guy standing at, or rather a big. You have a Big 10 man and
There you go.
Oregon's Junior Lawaki standing at first. Jack McWilliams, the San Diego commit, standing over at second. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Bottom half of the first inning here, just underway here at historic Gates Field. 1-1 from Loveridge is grounded to second. This could be 2, and it is booted by the second baseman, but they're not going to advance the runner home. So that will officially go down as an error, I believe, on the second baseman. It'll allow the runner to reach. And so that will now key up Jake Jackson, the San Diego State outfielder.
You got a couple San Diego State guys, huh?
And ironically enough, if Rich Hill is watching right now, Rich would be proud because he's a San Diego State graduate.
No
and
kidding.
Hawaii, of course, played San Diego State earlier this season, a 3-game series. Absolutely not going to say what the scores were,
Yeah.
but let's just say it was one-sided.
Okay.
But Jackson did appear in those games against Hawaii, as did Finley Bates, who we'll see later tonight as well. He was the Mountain West preseason freshman of the year, Jake Jackson, at San Diego State. Batted .276 on the season with 35 RBI, played in 42 of a possible 47 games, which, like I said, included that 3-game series against Hawaii and that other 3-game series played against UC Irvine. 2-0 pitch is fouled off the roof. So that's 2 balls and a strike. But like you said, Ty, a lot of talent up and down this lineup, especially from California. I mean, there are a lot of kids going to the California schools like San Diego State, Fullerton, Santa Barbara, Irvine, and UC San Diego as well. But you talk about the Big West schools. I mean, those Big West schools are on the rise, especially, I would have to say, UC San Diego.
Well, they're definitely on the rise, too. I mean, once again, to tell you the truth, Alex, I don't think the West gets as much recognition as they deserve. I think you can also completely agree with me. But
Right.
like the amount of talent, I mean, they basically have, it feels like, their own style of ball that they're playing out there that could easily compete with these greater conferences. At least I would say so.
But Ty, you bring up a good point because the Big West Conference has always been seen, I feel like, as a baseball power because of the fact that you have that talent out there, but it's that they know how to use it and they're committed to their own style of baseball. As this is ball 4, and that'll force home a run. So the first run of the game belongs to the Anchors here, and it's 1-0 here in the bottom of the first on the RBI walk drawn by Jake Jackson.
Now batting number 5, Jake Porter.
So now here comes Jake Porter, the Fresno native, speaking of another California kid who is going to Santa Clara. Another, speaking of which, very good program out of the West Coast Conference. Of course, Santa Clara. Of course, you think of the great WCC, programs in that conference like San Diego and Santa Clara, San Francisco, another one of note. San Francisco, I think, with one of the most unique venues in the country on the hilltop over there at Lone Mountain. It's Benedetti Diamond. Was under renovation for a few years before, which of course forced San Francisco to play down the coast at St. Mary's College's Luis Juisto Field. And Ty right here is just nodding his head because he knows already I know too much about baseball at this point.
I was going to say, they're doing just fine over there in the Bay Area.
Yes, they are doing just fine. I feel like they're doing just fine over there in the Bay Area.
Not that I can touch on any other notes that you already said. You can pretty much take the words out of my mouth.
Well, but Ty, being a baseball guy, you and me, we've been around baseball long enough that we know the West Coast teams don't get the recognition they deserve as Porter fouls this one off the roof again. So the call goes 2 balls and 2 strikes, but we hear so much talk about the East Coast teams, the SEC, ACC gets all the love and the credit, but
I mean, you take College World Series matchup
the
right
College
now.
World Series was all ACC and SEC teams this year, and the SEC is there's 2 SEC teams in the finals. But you look at schools like Irvine, did he go? Porter did go, and he broke the wrist, so that's strike 3. And so there's 2 out here for Cooper Loveridge.
26, Dylan Green.
But Ty, getting back to the point we were kind of trying to make earlier about the West Coast against the East Coast, do you kind of feel like on the basis of just the talent level, the West Coast is better than the East Coast for college baseball?
I would say so, personally. But then again, we also haven't seen very many matchups between the East and the West, which I wish it was kind of like that.
Right.
Where we could get a lot of ACC and SEC meetings between, the West Coast Conference and, I mean, I would even go as far as to say some of the Big 12 teams are doing pretty well, too.
Well, the Big West, I mean, if you're talking about teams that always want to play each other, I mean, Hawaii, that's why Hawaii with Rich Hill, they always try to bring in those teams. I mean, you look at the non-conference schedule, Hawaii's got Arizona State coming in next year. They have Texas, Washington's coming in next year. And then Hawaii's bringing in, I know this is a name you haven't heard in a while. They're bringing back for Alumni Weekend Gene Stevenson, so that he can watch his team play Wichita State play Hawaii for a 4-game series. I mean, that must be pretty cool. I mean, but I'm sure you haven't heard Gene Stevenson's name for a while.
I have not heard that in a long time, I will say.
Legendary Baseball Hall of Famer who coached Wichita State for close to 40 years. As another run gets forced home on a walk. And here comes Cole Gamble out to the mound. Of course, Cole, former BYU baseball outfielder, and of course now assistant coach at Salt Lake Community College. Lone Peak graduate. We do have a bullpen arm warming up right now for the Anchors. It is Max Musser, another Arizona State commit. Right-handers are up throwing in the bullpen right now. 2-0 our score in favor of the Anchors. Both runs coming home on RBI walks. Only 1 hit in this inning. And here comes the man that we were just talking about, David Vergel de Dios. From Kahului, Maui. And Maui High School, former Sabre, going to the University of Hawaii. And he takes ball 1.
Apple doesn't fall far from the tree, does it, Alex?
No, it doesn't fall very far from the tree.
Especially when you're on an island.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, people don't understand is that Hawaii has historically done really well in recruiting the 50th state for baseball. I mean, it's quite ridiculous, really, how much talent there actually is, especially on the outer islands, like on Maui, on Kauai, and on the Big Island. But Paragas from Kamehameha Kapalama, and of course Vergel de Dios from Maui, of course, just a couple of examples of the talent that is here in this league. 2 balls and a strike now on the Maui boy, David Vergel de Dios. Two-one pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. Bases loaded with 2 out here. 2 balls and 2 strikes on the catcher, David Vergel de Dios. Two-two pitch. Chopper to second, picked up. They'll go the short way for the force, and that will end the inning. So 2-run score on a base hit. The bases are left loaded for the Anchors. Back with the top of the second in just a moment. You're watching the Rewind Sports Network special coverage of the MGF Marshall Summer Baseball League. Welcome back, everyone, to historic Gates Field on the campus of Kearns High School. Alexander Tibble alongside my broadcast partner, Ty Wilkinson, for this special presentation of the MGF Marshals Baseball Summer League here on KSL Sports Rewind. As we have a pitching change out of the mound, Blake Paragas got his chance in the first inning, so the Mauvsters will now bring on Fisher Engersall, a familiar name from years past down at American Fork. Of course, he's in the portal right now. Previously played at TCU. And Ty, speaking of Fisher Engersall, we saw his dad, Jared Engersall, coach American Fork. There are some also American Fork players in this Marshals League as well. We'll see Jet Walker later on tonight as well. And we'll also see, and we're seeing another one right now here, Fisher Engersall. So this really just goes to show you how much talent there is in this league, because you're even seeing names from years past doing the stuff we're seeing right now.
Well, ancestors too, I guess you can also say. We've noticed lots of last names of, some, you can call them, I would call them legends of Utah, at least in the baseball programs of years past. And now to see their kids, showing their showcase and getting college commitments for the same sport that their, parents once played. You'd think that's pretty special, at least for them.
Well, speaking of the man on the mound right now, Fisher Engersall, he was the Utah Mr. Baseball in 2021, and he was the Utah Gatorade Baseball Player of the Year before going to TCU. Of course, he remains in the transfer portal right now. Made 12 appearances for TCU during the 2024 season. And his first pitch is into the mitt of David Verhel de Dios high, ball one. Faces off against the leadoff man here, the BYU commit catcher, Ridge Erickson. This is down low in the dart ball, too.
Well, if you think about it, Alex, we're watching the future of college baseball unfold before our eyes. I mean, some of these guys that, once again, obviously Ingersoll returning from TCU, but we talk about the amount of commitments to, we're not talking D3. I mean, there's a couple D3, but Division I. We're talking
No, we're talking big-time Power 4 schools
that are completely capable of, the recruiting opportunities that they provide.
Blake Paragas had 2 strikeouts in his only inning of work for the Mauvsters, as Fisher Engersall trying to make it 3 in a row here for the Anchors, as this one is smoked to the left field and over the glove of the third baseman, Lawaki, for a base hit. So that's the first base knock of the ball game for the Mauvsters, courtesy of Ridge Erickson.
Now to bat number 17, Fisher Engersall.
So Engersall now up to bat here. I misspoke, actually. I'm sorry. See, it's summer for everybody. On the mound right now for the Anchors is actually Adrian Garcia. He's going to Fresno State from Stockton, California, and he'll face Fisher Engersall, the incumbent transfer from TCU.
I probably should have caught that one too.
So I apologize in advance.
That's funny.
That was hilarious. Number against number here. Garcia against Engersall with a man on first. 1-0 pitch misses the corner. Adrian Garcia from Stockton, California, batted .312 with 16 RBIs in his senior year, and he struck out 45 and went 7-1, tie with a .78 ERA, and you can see why right there.
A .78 ERA.
And you could probably see why right there with that changeup. That was a beauty, fooling Engersall on the bottom of the strike zone. 2-1 pitch. Swan misses the corner low, ball 3. 3 balls and no strikes.
He's got some great velocity on his arm right now, Alex, and feels like that's what's paying the advantage, at least in this at-bat so far. I mean, obviously he's got a couple outside pitches. Ingersoll kind of waiting for the pitch, but the velocity, I think, is trying to catch Ingersoll, at least to the point of this at-bat.
3-1 on the way from Garcia. And this one misses ball 4. So that is a walk issued to Fisher Angersol. And now up steps to the plate for the Mauvsters. This is Nico Pauletto from Chino Hills, from Chino, California, going to Utah. Not that far from here. Prepped at Damien High School over there in Chino, California, close to neighboring Laverne. Swat is a slider on the corner for a strike.
Wonder how Cole Gamble and Eric Morgan managed to make these lineups, Alex, with so much talent.
I'm just wondering too, because I mean, but
how do you put a UC Irvine guy before a BYU guy, for example? Like, how do you make those split decisions?
Well, first of all, UC Irvine is 100 times better than BYU in baseball.
Enough.
Thank you very much.
Well, trying to make an example. we try to stay biased.
Well, we try to stay unbiased, yes, but obviously, but I don't know. Can you imagine trying to put a lineup together of this caliber, like with this much talent up and down the roster? As this one is hit in the air well to deep left. Back it goes toward the wall, and this ball is aloha. A 2-run home run, or a 3-run home run. A 3-run home run for the Chino, California native, Nico Pauletto. And you can pretty much see why there, Ty. He batted .404 his senior season at Damien with 13 home runs, or with 13 RBIs and 3 home runs.
Well, everyone's having fun right now, Alex. That thing was a moonshot, though. I felt like that thing was stuck in the air for at least a solid 5 seconds.
And now, of course, the umpire just try to make sure they don't go too overboard with the celebration.
He's laughing.
Yeah, they're all laughing. They're all laughing, which is good. So umpires just try to make sure that nobody goes too overboard with the celebrations this evening.
Now to bat, number 8, Aiden Chappelle.
Well, now back to baseball.
Yes, indeed. Now back to baseball. Aiden Chappell steps up to the plate now. Another California native, boy of Lakewood, prepped at Los Alamitos High School. And he, of course, is committed to play for Andrew Checketts at UC Santa Barbara, the defending Big West champions, UC Santa Barbara Gauchos, who absolutely steamrolled their way through the Big West Conference this year. 42 wins under Andrew Checketts. This is a strike 2. Still nobody out here at the top of the 2nd inning, as we're just past 9 o'clock local time here in Kearns, Utah. Sun beginning to set in front of the Great Salt Lake. Temperature dropping relatively quickly. It was 87 degrees according to the National Weather Service at first pitch.
I was going to say, it's beautiful. It feels like room temperature right now.
Well, that's probably because we're underneath the shade.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, that's why we're grateful to be here. We're not going to be sitting in the sun here at Gates Field the whole time because we're in the shade, but because the sun went down, it doesn't matter anymore. But then again, what do I know? 2 balls and 2 strikes. That one misses high and inside as Vergel de Dios had to snatch that down a couple of inches. Mauvsters up 3-2 here on the 3-run home run by Nico Pauletto. 3-2 pitch. Grounded to short, and that's a base hit into left field. So that's the 3rd hit of the inning already for the Mauvsters, and that's a runner on first base here still with nobody out. And that'll bring up Cade Thompson from Gilbert, Arizona, of course committed to play at U of A, whose teammate Tyler Russell is on the team. Both Castile High School graduates down there in Arizona. So this is a strike right at the knees. Of course, Arizona plays their games at High Corbett Field down there in Tucson. As this is swung on a miss, thrown down to first. They will not get the runner. Of course, Arizona, the home of another friend of Rich Hill, Jay Johnson, who now is coaching at LSU. And yes, that is where Paul Skeens went to school, in case everybody forgot, as this is ricocheted off the screen foul.
In case anyone forgot.
In case anyone forgot, the guy who has the mustache, Paul
Right.
Skeens, did go to LSU. And yes, he was coached by Jay Johnson.
Boy, he's having a great season over there in
He
Pittsburgh.
he is having an amazing season. As this one is swung on and missed for strike 3. There's the first out of the inning.
Now to bat number 7, Tyler Russell.
And speaking of that Castile High School connection, here comes Tyler Russell right now.
Well, from bordering cities, Queen Creek, Arizona, and Gilbert.
And he too, of course, with Kate Thompson going to Arizona, going to play for U of A. So they won't be too far from each other. They'll literally be in the same dugout with each other. Both part of the Castile High School championship team that won the championship over Sunrise Mountain just 2 weeks ago, which was, of course, held at Hohokam Stadium, spring training home of the Cubs, and former home of the Western Athletic Conference baseball tournament. 1-1 pitch, that one misses high, 2-1. Runner on first, 1 out. 3-2 Mauvsters lead. 2-1 pitch. This one is grounded to second. Throw to second, they get to 1. Throw to first. They get the stretch there. In time, double play. A 4-6-3 twin killing ends the inning. But the Mauvsters strike on the 3-run home run by Nico Pauletto. We head now to the bottom half of inning number 2. Mauvsters lead 3-2 here in this special presentation of the MGF Marshals League here on the Rewind Sports Network. Welcome back, everyone, to historic Gates Field on the campus of Kearns High School here in Kearns, Utah. Alex Aronson alongside our broadcast partner, Ty Wilkinson, for this special presentation of the MGF Marshals Baseball Summer League here on the Rewind Sports Network. We remind you, tomorrow our coverage continues with a doubleheader starting at 4 p.m. Catch all the action of the MGF Marshals League right here on the Rewind Sports Network. Well, Ty, we have seen a lot of talent up and down the board here in this first couple of innings, and what's kind of impressed you as we kind of look at the first 1.5 innings? Because as you said, we're looking at the future of college baseball right before our eyes here.
Right off the bat, and no pun intended, I'll have to say the bats, Alex, is the name of the story that I'm noticing most, is especially against star-studded pitchers that we've been seeing that they've been facing. But nonetheless, the bats as well as the good eyes as well, I should say, because 2 of the walks are one of the runs. Here's the bunt.
Drop bunt out in front of the plate. Loveridge able to read it and throw out the runner going to first. So on 1 pitch, there's 1 out here as we are in the bottom half of the second inning. That was a right idea, dropped by Quincy Butte. You promised we would see him, and we just saw him try to drop the bunt there. And that's the one thing, Ty, I'm sure Rich Hill would agree with me about Quincy Butte. That kid is fast.
I mean, we just saw it. What's his time? What's his 90? Do you know?
I gotta look up. I gotta look up and see where his 90 is, because he was busting it down the line there at first. As Finley Bates steps up to the plate now, San Diego State, current infielder at San Diego State. Takes inside, 3 balls and a strike now. As Vince Francis gives you a look from our wide-angle shot, beautiful shot of the surrounding area here in Kearns, as this is chopped to short. On a throw to first, Jet Walker throws him out 6-3. And so 2 up, 2 down here for Loveridge.
Well, we were talking about this earlier, Alex, is, the left field line is a lot like Fenway just because of how
it really
short
is,
it is.
yes.
But I'd also like to point out, the Salt Lake skyline out there makes you feel like you're in Philadelphia with the Phillies.
It really does. I mean, it's uncanny, really, the vibes it gives you as this is swung on and missed for strike 1.
And, of course, the beautiful Wasatch Range.
Yes, of course, the beautiful Wasatch Range. We know that for sure. Swing and a miss, strike 2.
was going to mention the Rockies, but I don't think there's not.
I don't think you can see the Rockies from
Yeah,
here.
well, I was going to say there's not very many teams in MLB that have that mountain scenery to them. That's why I was going to say Colorado could have been in the question.
Right. Jack McWilliams takes high and outside, ball one. 1 ball, 2 strikes here, the count on Jack McWilliams. One and 2 the count here on McWilliams. And the pitch. Down low in the dirt, 2 and 2. Two out here, 2 balls and 2 strikes to the third man of the inning here, Jack McWilliams, 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3, that ends the inning. Ekahi Elua Aloha for Cooper Loveridge here in the bottom half of the second inning. He puts up a 0. That's the top of the third. It remains 3-2, Mauvsters.
Now at bat number 21, Dre Pearsall.
Drake Pearsall to bat here at the top of the third inning. We apologize for the technical difficulties. The MGF Marshals League here on KSL Sports Rewind continues here from historic Gates Field here in Kearns, Utah. As this one is driven in the air to right, tailing foul. And the count goes to no balls and 2 strikes here on Drake Pearsall. Cooper Loveridge set down the side in the bottom half of the second inning, 1-2-3. Adrian Garcia now continues into his second inning of work. 0-2 pitch. And that one is once again foul.
Well, there's a name we've heard pretty often, at least during the 6A tournament, is Drake Pearsall. Good to see him in this lineup now.
Of course, people forget, of course, that Pearsall had a 2-run double on his first AB of the season against American Fork back on March 15th. That really set the tone in that game. Here he strikes out. And doesn't look like Junior Lawaki was paying attention over there at third when the ball got thrown to him. He ended up getting hit in the gut.
Now at bat number 22, Chandler Reber.
Chandler Reber now comes up to the plate. With 1 out here in the top half of the third inning here from Gates Field here in Kearns, Utah. Garcia's first pitch is swung on and missed. And Ty, you're really starting to see why Fresno State likes this kid, Adrian Garcia. He is gassing right now.
Oh, yeah, especially against a tough hitter like Drake Pearsall. Ready to get through, and now he said sit down, on to the next. He's wheeling and dealing right now. Already ahead in the count.
Of course, Fresno State, home of legendary head coach Mike Batesole. Of course, won the 2008 College World Series as the deepest ever seed to win a World Series in the history of the NCAA, the Fresno State Bulldogs. As he strikes out another guy here, does Garcia. And he's wheeling and dealing now. Second strikeout of the inning here for the Fresno State commit from Stockton, California. That'll bring up Dallin Ellison to the plate.
I guess that was a good time to mention, Alex, that was the first and second in the lineup that he just faced, and he sat him down like it was nothing.
Ellison fouls this one right back to the screen. Top of the third inning here, 3-2 in favor of the Mauvsters. Alexander Tumup alongside a broadcast partner, Ty Wilkinson, here at historic Gates Field. On a beautiful night for baseball, and I mean a beautiful night. We're right near the South Regional Valley Airport, and we're also, of course, right near SLC International Airport. So the planes are coming over us fast and furious.
I bet they're happy about the no wind as much as we are about the baseball down here.
And, of course, no clouds either, so they have an uninterrupted look down here at Gates Field as this one bounces up to the plate and wide. 2 balls and a strike now on Dallin Ellison.
Guess you can compare that to the outfielders, too, with the no clouds. That makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, but they're having to look into the lights, which makes it a
Right.
little bit more difficult. The lights layout here almost is like Les Murakami Stadium back in Honolulu. This one is a strike on the corner. 2 balls and 2 now on the third man of the order here in the inning, Dallin Ellison.
I'd like to agree with you, but I haven't seen that stadium for myself, Alex.
Well, you need to. It's one of the best, I think, in the entire Pacific, as Ellison tip fouls this one back to the screen where the media people are sitting. 3-2 Mauvsters here in the top of the third inning. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs now to the third man of the order, Dallin Ellison.
He's worked some deep counts, too. I wonder if he'll get a hold.
That's on cue.
Yep.
You did it again.
As
you
always.
did it again, Ty.
Yep, it carries over from the tournament, doesn't it?
You did it again. Adrian Garcia strikes out the side here. 1-2-3 in the top of the third inning. Mauvsters still on top. 3-2 as we go to the bottom of inning number 3 here on the Rewind. The Rewind Sports Network and our coverage of the MGF Marshals Baseball Summer League here on the Rewind continues. Alexander Tulip and Ty Wilkinson here at historic Gates Field here in Kearns, Utah. And really, Ty, so far, it's been a battle back and forth of one pitcher doing something and then another pitcher doing something and then one offense doing something and then another offense doing something.
Yeah,
this feels like an all-star game.
It's true, Alex. That's pretty much the story of the game, though. We've mentioned the amount of talent between either side. It's not like one is more stacked than the other because both are equally as stacked. But, you know, obviously we know baseball is 80% defense and 20% offense. But fortunately, this game feels a lot like a 50-50 scenario. We're seeing a lot of both and a lot of good showcasing between star-studded guys out on the field today.
Cooper Loveridge will continue into his third inning of work now. He'll face Junior Lawaki, the Springville graduate, and of course commit to play at Oregon. And the first pitch to him is inside and tied him up. Swinging a miss ball, a strike 1. He made 9 appearances pitching, going 3-1 with a 2.94 ERA, did Milwaukee last year for Springville. But Ty, this is the even more ridiculous thing. He was batting .586 his senior season.
You're kidding.
That's
how many games?
Unheard of.
Did he play every single game?
Yes, in every single game.
Batting .500, let alone.
You can see why. He was named first team All-State in 5A 3 years in a row, and he made the Deseret News Baseball Elite 9 2 years in a row. 2-1 pitch is grounded to third and through the hole. That's a base hit. So Milwaukee reaches a leadoff single here for the Oregon commit. Quack, quack. I just had to throw that in there.
All right.
They'll be doing that a lot over at PK Park when he's up to bat, I'm sure. So that'll bring up now Drew Johnson to the plate, the Gilbert native and the commit to South Mountain Community College. As he lines this one foul up the third base line past head coach Eric Morgan. Runner on first with nobody out after the leadoff single by Junior Lawaki.
A lot of Louisville Sluggers is the choice of bat, as I'm realizing, with that little black patch just in the middle of the bat.
0-1. Down low on the dirt, ball 1.
Seems to be the popular brand of today.
But they're the originals. I mean, Louisville Sluggers are like the original OG wooden bats. I mean,
true.
Everybody uses them. I mean, even in MLB, Ty, you see a lot of Louisville Sluggers, I would feel like. Did you use a lot of those growing up?
Louisville Sluggers, I did not. I don't think I only ever used metal. I never made it to wood bats. I wasn't that good.
Well, I don't know about that. I guess it's just it's what you prefer. You prefer to use the metal bats. I don't think it's the fact that you weren't good enough. Because if you're good enough, you're better than me.
Well, if Major League Baseball players would use metal bats.
Right. I think they'd be all human cheat codes at that point if they were using metal bats. Don't you think if MLB just started introducing metal bats on the fly, it would just be so unfair?
Not only would it be unfair, but I think people would get hurt a lot more often.
That's because, well, yeah, you're right. That's because of so much more velocity coming off the barrel.
I mean, that's the reason wood bats exist, is they get that momentum. Yep.
Well, looks like we have some. Looks like we have some pitch tipping going on here. Little gamesmanship. So the umpire calls out to the anchor's side to stop, but it doesn't matter as this one is smoked down the line, a base hit. Milwaukee going for third. They are going to throw the stop side up. It's a double for Drew Johnson down the right field line. And there's runners at second and third now with nobody out. And so the tying run is at third, and the go-ahead run is now at second in scoring position.
Now to bat number 14, Jake Jackson.
And that'll bring back up Jake Jackson, again, the preseason Mountain West Freshman of the Year last year at San Diego State. He had 35 RBIs last season. See if he could drive in 2 more here. And he swings and misses at that one.
Do we have a stat on how tall this kid is, Alex? Because I don't think it puts into reference how big of a boy this is.
Yeah, I believe the stats on the Aztecs put him at 6'5". I mean, he is a big dude with a lot of power to all alleys. Well,
all right, your turn.
I did it again. Oh boy, it's just gonna go back and forth on us tonight, isn't it? No balls and 2 strikes. Runners on second and third. So if Jake strikes out here, you can blame me, ladies and gentlemen. This one is fouled off to the right and over us.
You think a man of that proportion has to get his shoes customized? At least it looks like that's what he's got right there.
I'm sure.
I'm loving his cleats.
I'm sure. Those are some nice cleats, though, you got to admit. A lot of these kids in the Marshals League have really cool cleats. This one is high and in on Jackson.
I guarantee you they get them custom made, too.
Well, that's the other thing, too. I mean, they probably do bring the cleats that they have with them from their schools.
Right.
Like if they're playing for San Diego State, like Finley, Bates, and Jake Jackson are, that's probably the cleats they're wearing at San Diego State. 1-2 pitch. This one is in the dirt, 2-2. Approaching 9:30 p.m. local time here in Kearns, Utah. Runners on second and third, nobody out. 2-2 pitch. Aloha. Drop third, strike. Check throw down to first. They'll get Jackson on the 2-3 put out. And so there's 1 out. So I now give permission for the people that are watching Jake to blame me now. Since he did strike out as Cole Gamble pops out of the dugout. Lone Peak graduate and former BYU outfielder. As that's going to do it here for Cooper Loveridge. He goes 2 1/3 innings. And the Air Force commit will give way to the new arm coming out of the bullpen for the Mauvsters. As it's Jonah Marshall, the Utah Tech commit out of South Jordan, Utah, coming in now. And Ty, you really have to come away impressed with how Loveridge carried himself. I mean, he gave up the early 2 runs, but yes, he leaves with the responsible for the runners on second and third, but the way he responded after that inning going 1-2-3 was pretty impressive.
Right, and 2 of those runs, Alex, were both off of walks. So knowing that you had that compatibility in yourself to, limit the storm, if you will, and coming into that second inning and, the 1-2-3. I guess that just goes to show these guys,
they have been in these positions before, and there's a reason why they are going to play the level of ball that I guess they're supposed to be acquired to and signed to.
So Jonah Marshall now takes over on the mound. Again, he's a Utah Tech commit for the Mauvsters. Their second pitcher of the night. He's originally from South Jordan, graduated from Bingham. Jonah Marshall graduated from Bingham. He made 3 appearances his freshman season, and he made 12 this past season for the Trailblazers. Alexander Smollett, Ty Wilkinson here at historic Gates Field in Kearns, Utah. And so, Ty, I want to talk about this for a second while we have a moment. Just talk about the aspects of trying to pitch in a league like this, because I know a lot of pitchers get into summer leagues because they want to keep their arms warm, they want to work on their game, but I think the downside of it is you don't want to come back like absolutely worn out for the fall, because you still have fall baseball as well. So what's it like trying to balance the amount of pitching that you do here in a summer league?
Well, I was going to say probably they work it the same way, like we keep mentioning the MLB All-Star game, where you only give a guy probably at most maybe 2 innings, maybe 3. Depends on, I guess, how good they're doing. But I guess you're right. This is in a scenario where a starting pitcher who's used to going 6 innings would need to, go that 7-yard distance, if you will.
And it must be so tough, because think about Blade Paragas. That first inning he threw was an absolute gem.
Right.
I mean, got a ground out and then 2 strikeouts. I mean, you gotta be thinking at that point, if you're a starting pitcher in this situation in a summer league, you kind of feel like you want to keep going, because you feel like you got so much to give left in you. And that's got to be the hard part.
I would say so, is, you got to limit yourself, and you obviously don't want to get injured, especially in a summer league when you know that, baseball is coming up soon at the collegiate level. We get that you're trying to do the showcase and stuff, but I guess you're right, Alex, in the sense that you don't want to give up because you know that you have it in you, but I think as head coaches know that you got to limit the storm sometimes.
0-2 pitch. This is laced to second. Picked up by short by Jet Walker. In the back door comes Lawaki to score. And that makes it 3-3 on the RBI groundout. So that is an unearned run charged to Cooper Loveridge, who went 2 1/3 innings. First pitch on the way from Marshall is down low, ball 1. Next pitch on the way, bounces up, and that's going to allow the run to score from third, as Johnson comes across to score on the passed ball, and that makes it 4-3 in favor of the Anchors on another unearned run, which will be charged, of course, to Cooper Loveridge. 2-0 the count now to Dylan Green, the Cal commit from Roseville, California. This one is golf foul off to the right.
Well, how about that? You go from leading the ball game to then tied, and now you're behind just in a matter of a couple of bats.
Green fouls us off again. Green from Roseville, California, 3-year varsity starter at Wood Creek High School. Committed, of course, to play at Cal Berkeley, who will enter the ACC. 2-2 pitch is lined in the air to right. That's another base hit. And so Green gets on with a 2-out base knock. And so that is the 3rd hit of the ball game for the Anchors. And so they now have a base runner again. And here comes David Vergel de Dios, the former Maui Sabre. First pitch is outside and low. Throw down to first will not get the runner back in safe, so ball one.
This has been quite the 2-out rally engineered by the Anchors.
Impressive 2-out rally, you have to say, and think about it too, Ty. I mean, all 4 runs, if I'm not mistaken, have been unearned. This is line to the air to right, tailing foul. And it will fall foul short of the wall. So just a quick note, everyone. If you hear the chee-hoos coming from the Anchors dugout, that's one of the kids down there in Vergel de Dios it's probably coming from, along with Blade Paragas. There are plenty of those going on in the Hawaii dugout during games, I'm sure. 1 ball, 1 strike. And that is high and inside, 2 balls and a strike now on David Vergel de Dios.
Did you call him Chi Who's, Alex?
Yes, and it's spelled exactly how you think it is. It's CHEEHOOS.
Yeah.
I can't obviously do it while I'm wearing the headset.
Right.
If I could, I would, but I'm not going to. Just to protect everybody's ears, as it looks like Vergel de Dios swung, and he did. Broke the wrists over the plate, so 2 balls and 2 strikes now.
Well, it's all right. Whatever's going down there, I'm sure the people can pick it up from our mics regardless.
Yes. That's the thing about these headsets. They can pick up a lot of noise from a lot of different angles. That's why it makes it, I think, made it perfect for that ending to the 6A championship series where Lehigh's Caleb Crutchfield struck out the side after allowing the tying run to get on base. And what Ty and I and Vince Francis and I all agree was one of the best games we have probably seen in the history of Rewind. Runner goes off, grounder to third, that's a base hit. So Vergel de Dios keeps the rally going, so runners on first and second now with 2 out. Yeah, that's the 4th hit of the night and the 3rd one of the inning here for the Anchors.
All with 2 outs, too, Alex. This is where all the magic has been happening for the Anchors, it feels like.
And from one Hawaii commit to another, up steps Quincy Butte. Before that, Cole Gamble will once again pop out of the dugout. Again, a good time to remind you, the Rewind Sports Network and our coverage of the MGF Marshals League continues tomorrow with a doubleheader starting at 4:30 p.m. 4:30 and 7 o'clock, approximately game times for this doubleheader. So tune in tomorrow on the Rewind Sports Network for more MGF Marshals League action. Runners on first and second with 2 out following the single by David Vergel de Dios. And again, from one Hawaii commit to another, here comes Quincy Butte. As the Anchors try to extend their lead here in the bottom of the 3rd. First pitch is on the corner but away, ball 1. Butte tried to drop a bunt, but was beaten to the bag by Cooper Loveridge's throw, going 1-3. 1-0 pitch, and that's away, ball 2. Throw down to second, or throw to first rather, and they did not get Vergel de Dios. He was leaning off the bag, but they say he was safe.
It was close, too. Did you see that hop?
That was very close. Probably closer than I think we thought it was. Here's the pitch to Butte. And he fouls this one off the fists. Two balls and a strike here to the Hawaii commit, Quincy Butte. Out of Elk Grove, California, also played football. 2-1 pitch. That one is high and inside, ball 3. And so now, Marshall in danger of loading the bases here, with 2 runs already home. There is a man up in the bullpen warming up for the Mauvsters. 3-1 pitch. High fly ball in the air to right. Tailing down the line and foul. Trying to make the sliding dive, sliding catch over there. for the Mauvsters was the right fielder, Chandler Reber. So the count goes full here on Quincy Butte, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
You know, I wish the outfield had dimensions, Alex, so we could put a good reference of how far these foul balls have been tailoring, at least.
Strike 3 over the middle of the plate. Quincy Butte gets made a peeping Tom and gets sent back to the principal's office. Jonah Marshall gets out of the jam on a 3-2 pitch, but the Anchors push across 2 more runs unearned on 3 base hits, and they now lead 4-3. We head to the top of the 4th. Welcome back to historic Gates Field on the campus of Kearns High School here in Kearns, Utah, just outside of the city limits of Salt Lake City. Alexander Tim up alongside the broadcast partner, Ty Wilkinson. 4-3 Anchors over the Mauvsters as we head to the top half of inning number 4. Ty, it has been a very interesting game so far we've seen here. And like you said, the 2-out rally, impressive from the Anchors, which again, I think speaks to the it speaks to how talented these 2 rosters really are.
Well, we can't mention it enough, Alex, just the amount of college commits that are showcasing their talent one level at another, a bunch of 5-tool players that, you know, I guess have a lot to show for. And, you know, interestingly enough, I'm sure most of these guys, obviously they have that competitive nature to them, but most of them are probably just having fun out here, Alex.
But you know deep down they still want to win.
Of course.
Yes.
You got to have that mentality,
yes,
especially if you're going to play college ball.
Ridge Erickson stands in against Garcia. Adrian Garcia, the Fresno State commit. First pitch on the way is on the corner for a strike. Erickson, a 4-year varsity starter at Dixie, was named 4A All-State Honorable Mention by the Deseret News in 2022. And then he was named second team in 2023, and then he was named first team this past season in 2024. Was a 4-year varsity starter for the Flyers. 1-1 pitch. That one's away, 2 balls and a strike. 4 runs, 4 hits, no errors for the Anchors. 3 runs, 3 hits, 1 error for the Mauvsters. 2-1 pitch, just misses the corner and high, 3 balls and a strike. The big knock came on that 3-run home run by Nico Pauletto in the top of the second. 3-1 pitch is roasted to third, but Milwaukee doesn't even have to move as he makes the snag over there at the hot corner. L5, and there's 1 out. That'll bring up Fisher Angersol.
Now batting number 17, Fisher Ingersoll.
One out here in the top half of the 4th inning. 4-3 Anchors. First pitch, down low and in, ball 1.
I wonder if Fisher's played in this ballpark before. I know Kearns is obviously lower than 6A than what Ingersoll is used to. But I'm sure he's played in enough Utah ballparks that basically every ballpark here feels like home.
Well, you also take into consideration Rags Field at American Fork, where his father coaches. I mean, I would dare say that's probably one of the best ballparks in 6A because it's just open air and it's open to the elements, but it also is just all around a good ballpark to play at. And I'm sure there are other parks around the state in the high schools that, you know, probably try to copy that format at Rags Field. But you have to say Gates Field is historic for a reason. I mean, this is like a college level ballpark at a high school campus.
Right.
3-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Count goes full on Fisher Angersol. Mauvsters looking for their first base hit since the 2nd inning. The big knock came again on that 3-run home run by Pauletto. 3-2 pitch, ball 4. And so Angersol draws the walk. And up steps Nico Pauletto to the plate, who had the big knock with that 3-run home run back in the second inning. And no doubt, Adrian Garcia will be working him with extreme caution here. First pitch, and it hits him.
Caution much?
Caution much? I don't think so, as he has a bit of a smirk as he goes down to first base. And so that'll put runners on first and second with one out. There's an arm up in the bullpen for the Anchors. There's also a man up in the bullpen for the Mauvsters. So both sides' bullpen are active.
Off to bat number 8, Dayton Capel.
That'll bring up Aiden Capel now. Committed again to UC Santa Barbara and out of Los Alamitos High School. First pitch. Took a bit for the umpire to call it, but he gave him the call in the inside corner for a strike.
That's a tough inside pitch to hit, too, especially against a righty versus righty matchup.
Adrian Garcia, out of Stockton, California, going to Fresno State of the Mountain West Conference. 0-1 pitch is hit in the air to right. Coming in and making the squeeze out there is the right fielder, Jake Jackson. And there's 2 gone. That'll bring up Cade Thompson now to the plate as Dallin Ellison almost threw the bat in his direction and almost clocked him in the noggin. I mean, who says these kids can't have fun out here right now? I mean, this is their field of dreams right now. They're playing like it. I mean, you got to love that. First pitch to Thompson. That looked like it hit him. Yes, it did. Caught him on the top of the helmet. So the second hit batter of the inning for Garcia, and the bases are now loaded with 2 out.
Well, he's trying to work the righty batters inside, too, Alex. A couple that kind of just got away of him. Tried to go high and inside. Just right off the noggin there.
Yeah, so he did get hit in the head with the bat. You get hit in the head with the ball. Thank goodness that helmet was there to protect him, as this is outside ball 1 to the next man of the order, Tyler Russell.
Well, notice now he's trying to go to his left side because it's like, I don't want to hit any more batters, especially with the bags loaded. So where they're working inside, now he's going to try to work the outside corner.
Swing and a miss. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Right on cue.
It's crazy that pitchers are able to paint corners with accuracy like that. I feel like if I was on the mound, Alex, I'd just be trying to get it in the strike zone, let alone.
Well, I'm just surprised you can even remember that, as this is hit high in the air to center, coming over and tracking and making the squeeze out there at center field for the Anchors is Easton Barrett, and that ends the inning. So the bases get loaded, but the Mauvsters are unable to take advantage. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Now here at historic Gates Field, Anchors remain up 4-3. This is a special presentation of the MGF Marshall Summer League on Rewind Sports Network. Good look at the scoreboard here at historic Gates Field at Currents High School. As we have a pitching change for the Mauvsters here, it's Copper Hills graduate Connor Drockman now on the mound. Of course, he will be joining the slew of other kids that are going to SLCC. And Ty, you have to say, Connor Drockman, I mean, you talk about the Riverton kids knowing each other. I'm sure that this kid has gotten a good look at all the Riverton hitters because they're in the same region.
Right. I'm sure he's got a profile of some kind or a scouting report, Alex, as we know the matchups that they've faced against each other. But, you know, it's the game within a game. The game of baseball is what it is. And, you know, I guess tailors the advantage to a pitcher rather than the hitters when, you know, you've faced against each other, I guess, as much as they have.
3-year varsity starter was Connor Drockman, made 11 appearances, started 4 games for the Grizzlies, and struck out 43 batters in 44 to third innings. Very efficient on the mound was Connor Drockman at Copper Hills High School. He will face off against Finley Bates, the San Diego State infielder, to begin the bottom half of the fourth.
Now up to bat, number 2, Finley Bates.
Finley Bates from Castle Rock, Colorado. Again, currently at San Diego State, as is Jake Jackson. First pitch is high and inside for ball 1. Hit .292 with a .397 slugging percentage last season for San Diego State. And he had 4 hits twice. Once against Nevada and the other against Fresno State. 2 former rivals, of course, of the University of Hawaii in the Western Athletic Conference back in the day, Nevada and Fresno State, as this is on the corner for a strike. Here comes the pitch from Drockman. Goodbye. And so Drockman comes out of the bullpen and sits down the first man he faces on strikes.
Now to bat, number 4, Jack McWilliams.
Another California kid up to bat here, San Diego boy Jack McWilliams. Now up to bat. 1 out here in the bottom half of inning number 4. 4-3 Anchors. First pitch. Strike 1.
And what a bat it is, though, Alex. You see the glisten on that thing? That is a fresh Maplewood bat that he's holding right there.
How much you want to bet Drockman breaks his bat on this at bat? 0-1.
See, I wouldn't want to. I would not want to.
Would you want to get in a contest with me right now on what could happen with that? I mean,
yeah, I would not want it to happen to a bat that beautiful, though.
Oh boy,
that's a glistening.
We're gonna get in trouble. We're gonna get in trouble with that. Yep. If then it's a break-in.
Maybe you'll have to put an insurance claim on that one.
Maybe. 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes now. Junior Lawaki stands on deck for the Anchors. Two-two pitch. That one just missed the bottom corner.
Good take.
A tough one there for McWilliams. 3 balls and 2 strikes now. Count goes full. Bottom of the 4th inning, 4-3 Anchors. Alexander Timolip and Ty Wilkinson from historic Gates Field here in Kearns. 3-2 pitch. And that one bounces. And that's ball 4. And so McWilliams draws a walk, and now here comes Junior Lawaki up to the plate.
And no broken bats.
Yes. In fact, I don't think the ball even touched that bat. So he not only gets out of there with a clean bat, he doesn't even get a scuff. I mean, that's impressive. The only scuff I would get probably on the bats is if I swung and it foul tip right in the catcher's mitt.
Or if you bunted and then it hits you back in the jaw.
Or hits me in the schnoz, one of the two. I wouldn't want it to hit me in the jaw. I got to protect this moneymaker.
Right.
Got to protect the smile. First pitch from Drockman to Lawaki is down low in the dirt. That's going to get by the catcher. Throw down to second. They will not get the runner. And so that will go down, I believe, as a wild pitch. And it will allow McWilliams to advance to second.
Well, fortunately, the backstop looks like a good 20-ish feet, Alex. It's not.
The backstop is very, very close. But getting back to the teeth thing for a second, were you able to see, as this one bounces again up to the netting this time, and so 2 wild pitches in a row, and that will allow McWilliams to get to third. And so Ridge Erickson going to have a chat here with Connor Drockman out on the mound. But getting back to that other thing, were you able to see the NBA Finals where Derek White unfortunately got his face pushed into the court.
Oh, yeah.
And loosened the one front tooth, and then it chipped the other one.
Mm-hmm. That's going to need a little bit of a dental work. I mean, fortunately, he probably has the funds for it after winning the finals. My congratulations to you, by the way, Alex.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. 16 years in the making, that title.
Well, of course, you didn't do anything, did you?
No.
I know.
No.
I give you congratulations.
well, I did do something. I was a fan.
Yep, there you go.
You could tell from the boos coming from the dugout, they just issued the intentional pass to Junior Lawaki. So put runners at the corners now with one out. And Drew Johnson up to the plate. How much do you think that's going to cost Eric White, though? I mean, I know he can afford it, but that's got to be somewhere in the realm of, like, what?
Well, if it's professional work.
$600, $700? Maybe up to $1,000?
I'm going to say close to, like, 1.5.
1.5 million?
No, not.
Okay.
He's not getting new golden chompers.
Right, as this is clocked in the air, and that one drops fair down the third base line. Left fielder had some trouble tracking it, and it allowed the runner to score from third base. So track that as a base hit. And an insurance run for the Anchors as they go up now 5-3.
14, Jake Jackson.
As up steps Jake Jackson to the plate. First pitch is down low and away, ball one.
You might think I'm a nerd for this, Alex, and I probably am, but I keep track of the types of bats that they use and usually what they're made out of. I mean, I kind of know bats like the back of my hand. Mainly we've been seeing maple. I've seen a couple of oak.
Right.
And here's an example of oak that we're seeing right before us right now.
How in the world do you know all that?
Don't worry about it.
Well, okay, I won't then. Forgive me for asking.
Part of my research.
Yes, your research you did probably at 4 in the morning on your
Right.
phone while you were scrolling with your Instagram reels. But then again, aren't we all?
Yeah, it's true.
Anyway, 2-1 the count now here to Jackson. Runner on first and second, and the pitch is grounded to short. Walker picks it up, wings it to second, throw over to first. They won't get Jackson. So score at 6-4 on the fielder's choice. And that means there will be runners at the corners with 2 out now.
Now to at number 5, Jake Porter.
Jake Porter now steps up, the Santa Clara commit, and back to what we were saying about Jet Walker. I mean, the kid is a stud. I mean, we talked about how, you know, how solid that defense was, that infield was for American Fork. I mean, the way that that he makes plays out there, I mean, it's almost unreal to think that Lehigh was able to get anything through that infield. As Drockman brings his first pitch down, and it's fouled right off the screen by Porter.
Well, even if they did, Alex, it wasn't an easy task by any means for that Lehigh offense, it felt like.
Yeah, because there was a lot of speed on that defense. I mean, you had Walker out there, you had Dax Watts, who's a solid man catching wings at first base.
It's a brick wall.
Yeah, he's a big dude, Dax Watts is. Going to SLCC, of course. Or going to Utah, I should say. 0-1 pitch is lined down the right field line and fair. That's going to hit off the wall. 1 run will score. Here comes Jackson around third. He will score as well. A 2-run double for Jake Porter. And the Anchors add to their advantage. It is 7-3.
Now to at number 26, Dylan Green.
Well, there's a good basing clearing knock right there, which adds another extra amount of insurance to the night for the Anchors.
3 runs home in this inning so far off of Connor Drockman. So now in steps Dylan Green. Cal Berkeley commit. First pitch on the way is high and away, ball 1. Approaching 10 o'clock local time here in Utah. Just about 4 minutes till 10. 9:56 local. 1-0 pitch is inside ball 2. David Verhel de Dios stands on deck for the Anchors. Two-0 pitch. And it is high, 3 balls and no strikes. Erickson tried to get quickly up and throw down to second to keep an eye on the runner, but now it's 3 balls and no strikes.
Well, he tried the sweet chin music tactic right there, Alex, to try to get the throw. Obviously, when the ball is pitched higher, it's the catcher's advantage when basically already on your 2 feet standing up trying to gun it down.
How about hit foul to the backstop, 3 balls and a strike. Very impressive, you have to say, Ty, the 2-out rallies by the Anchors. I mean, they had a 2-out rally, of course, in the third with those 2 unearned runs, but they get their first 2 earned runs of the night on that 2-run double by Porter.
They've handled the pressure immensely.
3-1 pitch. That one is a strike at the letters. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 3 runs already home. 1 on the RBI single, and then on another on a 2-run double by Jake Porter. So 3 earned runs, first 3 earned runs of the night for the Anchors, as this one is fouled back toward the screen. 6th pitch of the AB coming up here.
I was going to say crazy enough that it was a 3-0 count at one point. Now it's working into the brink.
Druckmann trying to work his way back and get out of this inning. Full count offering. Did he go? He did not. Ball was low. It's ball 4, and so the inning will continue on the walk issue by Druckmann.
That's a tough pitch to lay off, too. That's corner edge of the plate, just a little bit outside.
So here comes David Verhel de Dios.
What do you think is a tougher pitch to lay off, Alex, inside or outside?
You tell me. I mean, you're the nerd, you're the nerdist, you're the expert.
Well, that's why I'm asking you, because I already know the answer.
Well, if you know the answer, why are you making me guess the answer? That doesn't make sense.
It's not a random roof ringer, unfortunately.
No, it's not. It is absolutely not a random roof ringer. That is true.
Well, perhaps I save that information until we get to that point. How about that?
Yeah, right. If we ever get to that point.
If we do get to that point. It's yet to happen.
It has yet to happen. Here is a pitch fouled over the roof by Verhel de Dios. You know, we may not get to see it much tonight, but the pop time that Verhel de Dios has is absolutely insane.
Yeah, we were talking about that on the way over here.
Yes, we were talking about it on the way here. We'll give it in a second. 1-1 pitch is bounced up to the plate. Good pick there by Erickson. Verhel de Dios, I believe you told me once on the broadcast, is that the major league average pop time is just about 2 seconds.
Right.
Verhel de Dios was clocked at 1.84 seconds.
Right. That's
That's
already ahead of most guys in the league.
And that's all. And that's also ahead of another guy we saw that has a fast pop time for Riverton, Caden Allred. I mean, Caden Allred, you said, was clocked in at just under 1.9.
Right.
But, I mean, you talk about quick reflexes. I mean, this kid is it.
Well, I know people talk about, it doesn't seem like a millisecond makes a difference. It definitely
does.
It's like the swimming, mentality that you can have.
2-1 pitch on the way is inside and high, 3-1 to David Verhel de Dios, who, of course, will be playing at Hawaii, and he's going to be giving Austin Machado some good competition there at catcher spot. Of course, Machado, honorable mention, All Big West honorable mention this past season of 7 on the Rainbow baseball team. 3-1 pitch is fouled back to the screen, so it's 3 balls and 2 strikes to Verhel de Dios. And we were talking about it on the way up here. He's replacing a pretty darn good catcher in Dallas J. Duarte. I mean, Duarte was a stud for 3 years behind that, for 4 years actually, behind the plate for Hawaii. 3-2 pitch, runners go. This one is lined in the air to left, and right at the left fielder who makes the catch. And that ends the inning. So 3 runs come home to score for the Anchors in that 4th inning on the 2-run double, the big knock by Jake Porter. We head to the top of the 5th. with 7,
Call for the snack shack.
with the 7-3 score in favor of the Anchors. Remember to stay tuned after the game as Ty and I will be giving some post-game thoughts on what we've seen here for these two teams this evening. And there has been a lot to talk about between these two sides, between the Mauvsters and the Anchors. This presentation of the MGF Marshals League here on the Rewind Sports Network on KSLSports.com. And we have a new pitcher on the mound for the Marshals Anchors. It is Owen Miller, the Orem High School graduate. Named 5A first team last season, went 9-1 in 11 appearances for the Golden Tigers last season. And so, Ty, as we head down the stretch of this ball game here tonight, I know we've seen a lot of offense tonight, that's a given, but what has impressed you the most about the pitchers here in this game so far?
I would say the mentality that they have, personally. It's hard to tell, especially against, a bunch of college guys that you're facing in a star-studded lineup, but you kind of just have to stay composed and content. And I mean, we've seen a couple of 1, 2, 3 innings too, courtesy of the pitchers that are also. But I don't think words can describe the pressure that a pitcher would feel, especially facing against such good talent that, we've seen all throughout tonight.
Of course, we saw that talent on display in the first inning with Blake Paragas, the 2 strikeouts. He pretty much showed why he was not only the #1 pitcher in Hawaii, but really was highly sought after by most everybody around the country.
Well, it's what the recruits look for. If they see a star in you, they're going to take a chance.
So Owen Miller now takes over the mound, as we said, with David Vergel de Dios behind the plate.
21, Drake Pearsall.
And now here comes the Riverton man, Drake Pearsall. As we begin the top half of the 5th inning. This one is lined in the air to center field, and it is over the head of the center fielder. That'll be a base hit off the wall and into the grass, or rather into the ferns out there in center field, as this one comes in quickly, and it's a leadoff double for Drake Pearsall to begin the top half of the 5th inning. Not the first time we've seen Drake Pearsall do that.
Feel like we know this guy too well, right?
Chandler Reber.
Chandler Reber now steps up to the plate. We know a lot of the Riverton kids way too well. That's just the...
Almost to the point we know their favorite food.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about. Well, I don't know about that. I don't know if I would go that far. But first pitch to Reber is swung on a miss, strike 1. Owen Miller, of course, committed to BYU. Again, like we said, graduate of Orem High School, 5A first-team All-Stater with the Golden Tigers last year. 0-1 pitch. That one hits the corner, strike 2. And the other thing you have to say, Ty, is a lot of these pitchers we're seeing tonight, they have absolute guns for arms.
Didn't we track one? I feel like it was like at 95, it felt like.
Oh, yeah. The velocity on some of these kids has just been incredible.
You can tell the difference, too, between a slider and a changeup. Normally it's at least a little bit difficult. At least it was for me during that state tournament, but now I can kind of gauge at least a little bit of a reference if a pitcher is behind or ahead in the count.
Chop foul to the backstop. Off the barrel. Have not seen any broken bats here this evening in our game yet, though we have had a couple in the previous games. 0-2 pitch. Whoa, that one hit the umpire. Oh, my goodness. Oh, boy. And that was a fastball straight to the noggin. Oh, boy. And Ty, that's unfortunately what can happen sometimes when the catchers don't get the gloves up fast enough, but we're looking down here, and it looks like everyone is smiling, so it looks like our home plate umpire is okay.
I think he just got the wind knocked out of him, unfortunately. But
I mean, but that
I
was...
should say fortunately, actually.
I mean, that
matter.
was an absolute rocket. And, oh boy.
I think he just needs a little
Yeah,
breather.
he needs a little bit of time just to just to gather himself.
Yep.
I mean, the guys all around him are having a smirk
Yep.
and laughing. So
I think he just had a brain refresh.
yes, if he wasn't awake, he definitely is now.
Yep.
Our home plate umpire. They're all laughing about it. So that's a very good sign.
Call that a brain reboot, if you will.
Look at, even he's having a laugh about it.
Yep.
So they're gonna take him off.
Yep.
So they're going to take him off for precautionary reasons to check him out and make sure that he is fit to continue.
As they should.
As they were just talking about it with Verhel de Dios, it looked like he did get crossed up, unfortunately, on that pitch. And he did. And he is admitting that he did get it crossed up. But anyway, Ty, we're talking about the earlier the things that these kids go through on a daily basis. Of course, I mean, there's a whole bunch of all-staters and first-teamers and second-teamers out here tonight. I mean, can you imagine Can you imagine getting offers from all these big schools and just try to figure out where you're going to go in the end? Like, it must be so difficult.
Right. The difficulty Alex does not describe. You got to be like the top 3%, I feel like, to be in the position that you're in right now. And every single player we know has a story, too, whether it's a comeback story, whether it's, I wanted to play baseball since I was 5 years old. Everyone's different, but we're all here today. And, I mean, what a showcase it's been.
So our home plate umpire is okay. Had a word with Verhel de Dios, who unfortunately got crossed up on that last pitch. 1-2 pitch to Reber. And he got him looking strike three. That's the first strikeout for Owen Miller. By the way, on that pitch, the runner advanced to third as we have a pinch hitter here now for the Mauvsters. It is Kyle Keys, the Sandy, Utah man.
Out to bat number 42, Cole ID.
That's actually Cole Ide, excuse me. Another Honolulu kid. Honolulu, Hawaii committed to UC Santa Barbara to play for Andrew Checketts. As Ide swings at that 0-1 pitch, grounds it to short. Second, throw to first in time, and in the back door comes Pearsall to score, and so the Mauvsters get one run back. And that makes it a 7-4 game here at the top of the fifth. So an RBI ground out for Cole Ide.
Now to bat number 24, Ridge Erickson.
Ridge Erickson now comes to bat. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's the fourth Hawaii kid we've seen tonight. Because we know Verhel de Dios from Maui, and then there's, of course, Paragas from Makaha. And Quincy Butte is, well, I guess you could say he's an adopted son of Hawaii already because he's going to UH. 1-0 pitch is low, 2-0.
Bet you're happy about that, seeing 4 Hawaii kids
Well,
play
yes.
in Utah.
Yes. We'll get to why Rich Hill sent Verhel de Dios to the mainland, as this one is crushed into the gap for a base hit. That's going to be trouble. Erickson will turn for second, and he will get to second as that one's picked up from the edge of the fence and thrown back in, so a 2-out double for Ridge Erickson. That'll bring up Fisher Angersall to the plate.
Well, I know I was interrupted last inning, but Alex, if you were to guess, what do you think like the outfield dimensions might be? I'm saying it's close to around maybe 340.
It has to be around maybe 343. I would say probably 340 to in the alleys to almost 380. I think it's center.
Yep.
as Ingersoll fouls this one back to the screen.
Again, we can only guess. There's not numbers.
Right,
listed.
there's not actual numbers because at Rags Field at American Fork there are numbers on the wall.
Right.
So we have confirmation, and of course Jordan High School also has, where I do PA announcing at Jordan, they also have numbers on the wall. Runner at second, 2 out, 0-1 pitch, down to the dirt, 1 ball, 1 strike. Temperature now 73 degrees here in Kearns. It's approximately 10:15 p.m. local time here in Utah, so a late night for us here at Gates Field. 1-1 pitch. Foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Glad you didn't park your car out there, huh, Alex?
Can you imagine how many dents my car would have had in it by now?
You would have thought it was a hailstorm.
Death from above. Or something like that. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. Misses outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. So the count goes 2-2 and 2 outs with a runner on second. Not quite deuces wild, but close.
Well, hopefully they can get a rally like the Anchors have had in the previous innings.
Trying to be Romo-Stradamus again there, are you? We're about to find out if it happens. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. And foul again.
I got lucky on that one. I was about to say, please no.
You would have jinxed it again.
Right? Which would have meant, Alex, I would take the lead in the jinx, because I think we're tied 1-1 right now.
Well, hold on. It continued through the 6A tournament, so I think you lead overall still.
By a wide margin, for that
By
matter.
a wide margin. By a very wide margin. Here's the 2-2. And that one just got the end of the bat on that one foul. So the 7th pitch of the AB coming up here for Fisher Ingersoll with Ridge Erickson standing out at second. Off the 2-out double.
Oh, those are the hits that hurt the most, Alex, is off the end of the bat.
Well, because it rings your hands.
Mm-hmm. Batting gloves can't really help you in that scenario.
2-2 pitch. Aloha. So Owen Miller gets a strikeout with a runner on second base, and that ends the inning. So we head now to the bottom of the 5th inning. The Anchors still in front 7-4. Back after this. Rewind Sports Network special presentation of the MGF Marshals League. Welcome back to historic Gates Field here in Kearns, Utah. Alexander Timolip and Ty Wilkinson ready for the bottom of the 5th inning of this game between the Mauvsters and the Anchors. American Fork grad Jet Walker now stands on the mound. He'd be the 4th pitcher of the night for the Mauvsters in this showcase game. Walker, of course, committed to Mesa State, 4-year varsity starter, made 13 appearances pitching, striking out 43. And he was named Deseret News All-State 6A first team this past season. And Ty, for good reason. We saw how good both his pitching and his defense was in that 6A tournament. He was a master.
He's a 5-tool player. To and through, it feels like. Like looking at his perfect game statistics when I was doing research for him for the tournament, all the numbers that he put up in the regular season now going into his college, well, soon-to-be college career. But I'd say Mesa is going to be pretty happy to have him on their roster, especially considering how good of a versatility player he is.
You kind of do feel like, though, that Jet Walker's niche really is in the infield, because he uses that speed to his advantage. And that's what we were most impressed with when we were watching him in the 6A tournament, was that his speed is elite.
Well, that's what we talk about, Alex. 5-tool guys. Guys that can field, hit, run, pitch, glove. I think I covered all 5 tools. Mistake me if I'm wrong.
Right. I think you covered it too. I'm not sure, but we'll find out. As we have some changes out there right now. Over at first base now is Cole Ide. Fisher Ingersoll moves to second. Aiden Capel now plays short. Pearsall remains at third. And Erickson remains behind the plate, and up to the plate now steps the Hawaii commit Quincy Butte. First pitch to Boutte from Walker is a strike right at the knees. Boutte, one of the few guys not to join the hit parade tonight for the Anchors. 0-1 pitch. Foul to the right. It's what he did the best over in Elk Grove in high school. 2-year varsity starter, batted .410 with 18 RBIs his senior year. Well, and down he goes on strikes on 3 pitches. My bad, Quincy.
Against your own Hawaii kid,
I joined
Alex.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, and against my own guy too. Oh my goodness. Oh well. I'm sure Rich Hill will forgive me, I think.
Well, fortunately, he's here for a good time.
Yes. Gladly, this is not a regular season game that means something yet, as Walker comes out firing 4 consecutive strikes.
Man, if they let us do that, Alex.
Let us do what? I'm trying to figure out what you're getting
Be
at.
in a college baseball commentary?
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness.
No. You can't put me in the Rob Leahy press box at Les Murakami Stadium and think it's going to go well.
There'd be 100 jinxes just in one game.
I guarantee you. The first pitch we do is a jinx.
Yep. Hey, we're here for a fun time, not a long one.
Yes, that's right. That's exactly right. 1-2 pitch. And this one misses to the backstop. 2 balls and 2 strikes now. On Finley Bates. 2-2 pitch. Line foul. Watch out over there on the grass berm. As a couple of the kids will start trundling their way over there to see who could get to it first.
I remember being that age.
Jack McWilliams on deck, 2-2 pitch. This one is high, so the count goes full here on Finley Bates. San Diego State infielders. San Diego State man awaits 3-2. And he swings and misses for strike 3. So that is back-to-back strikeouts for Jet Walker. And there's 2 gone now, and up steps Jack McWilliams to the plate.
Now to bat number 4, Jack McWilliams.
7 runs, 6 hits, no errors for the Anchors. 4 runs, 4 hits, and an error for the Mauvsters.
I wish we had analytics that would show Jet Walker's pitch itinerary, because it feels like he's all over the strike zone right now. Well, it happened again.
Oh my goodness.
Can't get him to chase
do
the
you
outside,
feel like at this
right?
point we should just not say anything?
I think so. We should just let it breathe, Alex. That's what baseball's all about, right?
It's a pastime for a reason. Anyway, here's the 1-0. And this is fouled right back to the screen.
That's what I was talking about. Just had to wait for the...
Right, yes,
Should have just
I had
waited.
to wait for it.
Yep.
I had to wait on it. There you go. It's about timing, you know?
Fortunately, I do not predict the future. If I did, it'd be a lot easier.
No, we'd be rich by now, as this one is ricocheted off the screen and off the railing again, foul. So 1 ball, 2 strikes as Walker tries to set down the side on strikes. Lawaki stands on deck. 1-2 pitch. Goodbye. And so Walker does come out and set down the side on strikes. That concludes matters here in the bottom of the 5th. As the Anchors go in order. Head now to the top of the 6th inning. It remains 7-4 in favor of the Anchors. Top of the 6th inning here at historic Gates Field at Kearns High School here in Kearns, Utah. Alexander Timolip and Ty Wilkinson for this special presentation of the MGF Marshals League here on KSL Sports Rewind. And Ty, how impressive was that by Jet Walker? 3 straight strikeouts in order against 3 of really the best hitters you'll probably faced on the roster.
He had a very similar pitching sequence dynamic, Alex. He went fastball, fastball, slider down, and then fastball yet again, and he catches them on the outside corner. That's a signature pitch, Alex, and we saw that during the tournament. He loves that outside up and away and getting pitchers to chase, because pitchers, I feel like, have that mentality that if you work a batter into a certain position, you can kind of
get a feel for, the pitches that they like and what they want to swing at. And Jet, I feel like, has mastered that chess battle between pitcher versus batter. I was impressed. I don't know about you. That was a great inning by him.
It almost makes you feel like he could play both ways while he's at Colorado Mesa State. I mean, he could be a pitcher and an infielder at the same time.
Right.
That's what's scary about it, I think, is trying to decide which aspect of his game they're going to try to bring out more. As Nico Pauletto stands in to begin the top of the 6th inning. He cuts on and misses at that first pitch from Owen Miller.
Well, we cherish our 6A Utah guys very well, don't we?
We cherish all the Utah kids.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
Fair enough.
I mean, this league is made up mostly of Utah kids who are just graduating high school, which I think is scary to think of. 0-1 pitch, chop foul to the backstop. So the count goes to no balls and 2 strikes here on Nico Pauletto, who had the big knock with the 3-run home run. Back at the top of the 2nd inning for the Mauvsters. Of course, wearing the purple uniforms, hence the name Mauvsters. Good waist pitch there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pauletto, of course, going to Utah from Chino, California. 1-2 pitch. And again, same spot, same location, same result. 2-2. Two-two pitch. That one misses 3 balls and 2 strikes. So the count goes from 0-2 to 3-2 here on Nico Pauletto.
And you can't lose him here, too, especially if we're especially ahead in the count. Try an outside pitch up in the corner.
Goodbye. Right on cue. And Owen Miller strikes out the first man he faces here on the top of the 6th. Back on track there, Mr. Wilkinson.
Well, there we go. I was sort of expecting it.
Well, he did throw that. Well, it was an outside high pitch.
Yep.
And it was a fastball. So you were right. You struck him out. 0-1 pitch, or first pitch on the way to Capel is a strike right at the knees.
Just did Control-C, Control-V from his previous outing right there. Another outside high pitch.
Getting back to Vergel de Dios, who's behind the plate right now, his pop time 1.84, and I was talking about how earlier he's going to replace Dallas J. Duarte, who is the incumbent for Rich Hills. This is ripped into the air to left center field for a base hit. Rounding first, turning aggressively is Capel. He'll stop there at first and trundle back with a 1-out single for the 5th hit of the night for the Mauvsters, and their first since the 4th inning. But getting back to Vergel de Dios, I mean, his pop time, we talked about how Austin Machado likely could be that catcher starting in the hole for Rich Hill this next season for Hawaii, but Vergel de Dios, with the way he's played in this Marshals League so far, he's making quite a case for himself that he could be the day 1 starter next year for Rich Hill.
I was gonna say, you think the freshman will get pulled up to quote unquote varsity, if you will, I guess, is what it would be if we're talking high school terms.
Junior Ibarra now at the plate. He now is another pinch hitter. He's going to San Jose State. Runner goes off for second. There's the throw. Did he get him? Yes, he did. Example A, ladies and gentlemen, of just how good the Maui Sabre is. As he guns down Aiden Capel down there at second base. 1-1 pitch is hit in the air to center. Center fielder coming over. Left fielder 2. Left fielder will squeeze it, and that ends the inning. David Vergel de Dios making a name for himself big time for Rich Hill. Bottom of the 6th inning coming up. It remains 7-4. Anchors. Bottom of the 6th inning here at historic Gates Field. Alexander Timolip alongside my broadcast partner Ty Wilkinson. As we come down the stretch here of this game, another new pitcher comes in now for the Mauvsters. It's Caleb Holman, a left-hander. So our first look at the lefties here tonight for this Mauvsters team and for the Anchors as well. But, of course, Ty, the talking point from that 6th inning, I mean, David Verhel de Dios is the real deal over behind the plate. You can see why Hawaii is very happy they have him on their team.
We'll talk about a good scouting report, too, and what a pickup, too, by Hawaii. And as you mentioned, too, example A, he had time, Alex. That behind-the-plate throw was thrown on a frozen rope so well that I think he even had an extra, like, 0.4 seconds just to get the ball there. You could have a sip of coffee or something if you wanted to.
I mean, he could have. I mean, he literally could have drank a glass. I mean, you literally could have had a sip of pog pog juice right there before that thing got down there.
Right.
That was perfectly timed by David Verhel de Dios, and as you said, great pickup by not only Rich Hill, but of course the whole coaching staff. I mean, the coaching staff that Rich Hill has assembled. I mean, with Lindsey Beggs, Dave Nakama, and pitching coach Keith Zuniga. I mean, Rich Hill has assembled an army.
I was going to say, I feel like Hawaii is in pretty good hands.
Yes. And just think, though, Ty, it's a program, speaking of Hawaii, that hadn't had a single winning Big West season in its entire history prior to 2022 when Rich Hill took over. And then you see what happened last year. I mean, 37 wins, 20 in Big West Conference play. Their most in conference play since 2006. As Lawaki gets that one thrown behind him. 2 balls and a strike. I mean, it kind of also does make you wonder, Ty, like I kept telling you on the drive here, of the what if of what would have happened if Hawaii had made the NCAA tournament, because I mean, Hunter Gottschall is on the Anchors, and he knows this as darn well as anybody that Hawaii was the hottest team in baseball. 18 wins in their final 20 games. As that one is downstairs, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Junior Lawaki.
We talked about it earlier. I think it was during the 2nd inning. It's about the East takeover, it feels like. The ACC and the SEC right now, and the NCAA. The West does not get, I feel like, enough credit where credit is due.
Ground ball to third. Good pick over there by Pearsall. Long throw to first in time. One third baseman grounds out to the other. And there's one gone. Good pick over there by Drake Pearsall. That ball took a funny hop off the dirt.
Now to bat number 20, Drew Johnson.
Brings up to bat number 20, Drew Johnson here. And getting back to the Big West Conference, as this is a lefty against lefty matchup here, Ty, the Big West finally will be instituting a 5-team baseball tournament. It'll be a 4 against 5 single elimination game, and then it will proceed to a 4-team double elimination next year. You would think, though, in that sense, that would help the Big West get some more pub, because if you look at the conference this season, there were 4 teams with 30 wins, 4 teams with 20 wins in Big West Conference play. UC Santa Barbara, Irvine, Cal Poly, and Hawaii, all with 20 wins in conference play as a 4-pitch walk is issued to Johnson.
I think you're onto something here.
But Ty, like we keep saying earlier, you almost wonder the what-ifs for not only for Hawaii, but also for Cal Poly, because it's not like Cal Poly was a scrub team either, and Hawaii took 2 out of 3 from the Mustangs earlier this season.
Right. And, again, it just comes down to the recognition, I feel like. The West, as we mentioned, does not exactly get the best of recognition. I think, what was the number you said, 4 teams? That had
4 teams with 20-plus wins
20?
in Big West Conference play.
That's...
Yes.
I mean,
that's ridiculous, as this is grounded to third. 5, 4, they will not get 3. And so the fielder's choice goes 5-4 there as Jake Jackson reaches safely on a fielder's choice, and there is 2 gone now here in the bottom of the 6th. Well, we're about to find out if we're going to have 7 or 9 innings here tonight, because the earlier game went 7 innings, but we were told, of course, the word was according to what we got from Vince Francis over here, was that it would go 9 innings. So we're about to find out if it's going to go 7 or 9 here tonight, especially with how late it is right now. It's 10:33 local time here in Kearns.
What time is that Hawaii time, Alex?
Earlier than that, much earlier. It's Mai Tai time, as we say over in Hawaii right now. Where I know a shout out to my good friend American Fork forward Lewis Connect, who's out there with his U17 or U18 or U19 soccer team out in Honolulu, staying at the Waikiki Beach Marriott, making me jealous. I wish I could switch spots with him right now and be there, but
We're not that advanced in technology yet, are we?
maybe not quite. Maybe need a few more decades for that. 2-1 pitch. This is a ball outside. 3 balls and a strike now to Jake Cooper. No, Jake Porter, rather. 3-1 on the way. Runner on first is Jake Jackson. And this is lined in the air to left, down towards that berm. And nobody's over there at that point. That's going to fall foul into the trees. And so Dallin Ellison has to go and retrieve it.
You wonder if there's ever been an instance at this ballpark, Alex, where you have to run onto the berm to track a foul ball. That's not a very short fence. At least they used to be able to. Is that legal,
though? Is that legal to leap onto the berm and try to catch the ball? I don't know. This is grounded to third again. Pearsall has it on 2 hops. And he throws out Porter at first, and that will end the inning. So Drake Pearsall gets all 3 defensive outs for the Mauvsters in the bottom of the 6th. So once again, we're about to find out if we're going to go 7 or we're going to go 9. We'll be back after this with the top of the 7th in just a moment. Well, Pitbull trying to keep the fans entertained here at a late hour here in Kearns, Utah. Alexander Timol alongside the broadcast partner Ty Wilkinson as we have yet another pitching change here. It'll be Darius Henderson to take the mound here for the Anchors here in this top half of the 7th inning. And so Ty, of course, Henderson from Raleigh, North Carolina, but came to Utah with his parents, started at Hillcrest before transferring to Snow Canyon. Was batting .360 with 10 RBIs his senior season before transferring over to pitching. But Ty, as we come down the stretch here of this game, what really has impressed you about both of these teams here tonight, from not just a talent standpoint, but how these teams have really carried themselves all night?
It's a versatility game, in my humble opinion at least, is that it feels like every player doesn't necessarily have a chip on their shoulder, but they all have something that they want to play for. And obviously, you know, this game doesn't really mean anything, but we mentioned this, I think it was in the 5th inning, that winner's mentality that you can have no matter, you know, what is at stake, it feels like. But this Summer League has just been entertaining on all fronts, just to watch these guys try to compete against one another. And, you know, very rarely, at least in my opinion, baseball is one of those sports that 2 guys couldn't play on a team for, you know, a certain amount of time. Like, I'm sure most of these guys have probably never played a game of baseball with each other, but it seems like a really well-oiled machine just how every player manages to carry themselves.
Tyler Russell now stands in to lead off the 7th inning for the Mauvsters against Darius Henderson. He'll be followed on deck by Drake Pearsall. And the first pitch from Henderson on the way is high and inside, ball 1. 7 runs, 6 hits for the Anchors, 4 runs on 5 hits and an error for the Mauvsters here this evening. Henderson's 1-0 pitch is on the inner half for a strike.
And I like to use the term, Alex, well-oiled machine, just because this is the start of these guys' careers. Like going into college, they carry their mentality that they had in high school ball, and now they're going to have to level up, if you will, up until college.
But the other thing is, too, Ty, a lot of these kids here, we've seen some guys that are playing in college already, like Finley Bates and Jake Jackson and Cooper Loveridge, who started the game for the Mauvsters. This is an opportunity for them to not only showcase their skills, but also to continue to develop their skills, because the guys that we've seen tonight are still relatively young in their careers, as Russell goes down on strikes for the first out of the inning.
Kind of works the same as a rehabilitation assignment for AAA, if we're using major league terms. But not in the sense that they're injured, if you will.
Right, not in the sense that, right, obviously not in the sense they're injured, but they're trying to develop their skills.
Right.
But you see the talent. I mean, Jake Jackson was named preseason Mountain West Freshman of the Year for a reason. I mean, he is just an amazing talent out there in right field.
You love the idea of a high-level scrimmage, I guess is what you can call it.
Exactly, yes.
Because it gives you the practice mentality of playing an actual college baseball game.
Jordy Lopez, the pinch hitter, stands on deck for the Mauvsters next. As Drake Pearsall stands in against Darius Henderson, with catcher David Verhel de Dios behind the plate. Of course, Verhel de Dios with that amazing play at second, gunning down Aiden Capel earlier in the 6th inning, keeping a run from getting into scoring position, as this pitch looks like it hit Pearsall. It did, so he'll trot down to first. And so a one-out base runner here for the Mauvsters as they try to get a rally going here.
Now to that number 9, Jordan Lopez.
So up steps Jordy Lopez now. Another Elk Grove, California native, and another commit to the University of California. Cole Ide stands on deck, the Honolulu kid and UC Santa Barbara commit. Henderson, first pitch is high and inside, ball 1. One-oh pitch. Hide outside 2-0.
You want to know a quick fun fact about Drake Pearsall?
Well, I've been waiting for one all night.
Of course you were. Take a guess at what his Twitter handle is. It's actually pretty funny.
I hope it's something appropriate we can say on the air.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
It's his name, isn't it?
Well, it's Drake ESPN. And ESPN is all caps.
Drake ESPN. What in the world is that? What does that entail, I wonder?
No.
Oh, had to throw the Sports Center theme in there, eh? Now we're going to have to pay some royalties. Now we're going to have to...
Sorry, Vince.
We're going to have to... Yes, we're going to have to bleep that out. You know that 2-1 pitch. Down low, 3 balls and a strike now as the tying run stands on deck in the person of Cole Ide. Again, Ide from Honolulu, Hawaii, committed to UC Santa Barbara. Three-one pitch. Swing and a miss. The count goes full here on the pinch hitter, Jordan Lopez.
Love a good righty versus lefty matchup right here, Alex, on a 3-2 count. Everything on the outside is a really good option.
3-2 pitch on the way. Henderson taking a look back at first. That one is on the inside corner. Goodbye.
Well, don't mind if you do.
Struck him out, and there's 2 outs here now at the top of the 7th. As now,
Number 42, Cole Idle.
Cole Ide now stands in. As if this is a 7-inning game, this will be the last chance for the Mauvsters here this evening. Approaching 10:45 local time here in Kearns, Utah. High pop-up. Shortstop says he's got it. Bates makes the play, and that is your ball game. As the Mauvsters go down 1-2-3, and that's your ball game as the Anchors come out with a 7-4 win here this evening, here in this final game of the day here of this Marshals League Summer tournament. We'll take a quick break and we'll have some final thoughts on what we've seen here tonight from these two sides. Final score, Anchors victorious over the Mauvsters, 7-4 on the Rewind. Back here on the Rewind Sports Network at historic Yates Field here in Kearns, Utah. Alexander Timlip and Ty Wilkinson wrapping up what we have seen here tonight at Gates Field. Ty, first of all, obviously, a couple of weeks ago was your last official Rewind broadcast for high school sports. But if nothing else, this could be your final game here for the next 2 years. So, give me your final thoughts on what you've seen here tonight. Very impressive from both sides.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this was just a fun all-around game. Just, kids having fun, showing their skills. We know that they're going to be playing at that really nice level here in the next couple of seasons. Some, are probably still have 1 year of high school but are still yet committed. But, I had a great time. I don't know about you, Alex, but this is a great opportunity for guys to, once again, show their skills and, play a really decent scrimmage at that collegiate level for each other. And what better could you ask for on a night like tonight?
And think about this. I mean, the plays that we saw tonight, the Paulero home run was amazing. We saw the great throw by Virgil de Dios gunning down that runner at second base. We saw some high-level two-out rallies as well on both sides. There is so much talent here in this Marshals League. And like you said, we truly are seeing the future of college baseball, maybe baseball at large, open up right before our eyes, especially when we saw David Virgil de Dios gunning down Aiden Capel at second base.
I feel like I was just watching a highlight reel all night tonight, Alex, like on the defensive perspective as well as the offensive perspective. Pitching, too, included. I don't know. I'll just leave it on the note that tonight was just an all-around fun experience. And, maybe we'll see some of these guys be playing in the collegiate well, I shouldn't say maybe. We definitely will. I should say maybe for the majors.
Well, Ty, if this is your last broadcast for the last 2 years, it's been once again, it's been an honor being with you the last year and a half or so doing this. It's been a real pleasure, buddy, and we'll keep the seat warm for you for when you get back.
Hey, we'll be I'll be back eventually, right?
Yes, you will be back eventually. It'll be a long time, but you'll be back eventually.
Counting on you, Vince.
Yes. Thank you, Vince Francis, as well, for his work today with us on the camera and for his work getting this stuff set up for us here in the Marshals League. Thank you to the Marshals League as well for allowing us to stream tonight's game. Once again, final score, Anchors victorious over the Mauvsters, 7-4. For Ty Wilkinson and Vince Francis, this has been another presentation of KSL Sports Rewind, your home for the UHSAA Championships and your official home of the MGF Marshals Summer Baseball League. Until next we meet, aloha from Utah, good night, and we ask you please take care of one another.